Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Rise News.
Now let's get into it. Now this is very exciting because every 31st of December, most people globally are inclined to make New Year resolutions, usually tagged New Year resolutions. The resolutions which are directed towards a change in behavior, attitude, mindset, thought patterns, relationships, and followerships, just to mention a few.
Goodness me, usually take New Year resolutions. Notwithstanding, these resolutions without conscious decisions and adequate follow-up can easily be forgotten as the pressure of life meets the demand of survival. It means the ups and downs of existence.
But just making your resolutions, we're now being joined by performance consultant and coach, founder of Center for Simple Radical Change, and creator of the Simple Radical Change Matrix, a framework for creating fast and explosive change in any area of life, including love or business. Thank you so much for joining us, Adenike.
Thank you for having me.
For joining us at this time. Let me begin by asking you, why do we make New Year resolutions? And it's, from my calculation and counts down, it's about 13 hours and 30 minutes to the new year. If I do not have a resolution at this point, is it too late? When is it the proper time to make a resolution?
Okay. The first question is, why do we make New Year resolution? I think people need like an anchor, like a direction to say, okay, so the next 12 months, what should I be targeting? What should my frame of mind be? What should I be looking forward to? And that's necessary because in the absence of clearly defined goals, clearly defined vision, we become strangely loyal to daily trivials, so we become largely enslaved by them. So that means that I don't have a direction as to where I'm going to. So any other thing that comes on, I take it. There's a lot of distraction. You are not focused as to what to do. When is the best time to make a New Year resolution? I think there is a lot that goes into that we're not, we don't easily talk about. There's a frame of mind. Where are you mentally? Some people take a while to get there. In terms of, okay, some people are just gradually wrapping up the previous year. Some things for some people would still extend till January. So I think it's a personal journey, and I think it's when you are comfortable to doing it.
So I can make a resolution, what, next year? January, February?
Definitely. It is your life. That's what I like to tell people. It is your life. You're not running a race with anybody. You do it when you're ready to do it. You do it when it's comfortable for you.
So, I'm sorry, I might be like an anathema. I don't make New Year resolutions.
Fantastic.
I mean, I don't.
Any particular reason?
I was going to get there.
For me, I have a life goal for myself.
Okay.
And I work in tandem with that.
Okay.
And that pretty much motivates me, and that's the center of everything I do. Okay. So every year is just in tandem with that life goal. Okay. So I don't make New Year resolution. I find it very funny because, and that's why I want to ask a question, why is that everybody that makes a New Year resolution, by the first week of the new year, it's all bonkers. It's all gone down the drain.
Maybe not.
I mean, most people.
Okay, so I like that.
In fact, I'll back it up with stats. There's a stat that says over 60% of the people, by the end of January,
they've forgotten their goals.
They've forgotten their goals.
I get that.
That's why I don't make you. It looks like all pop culture. It's like Hogmanay.
Sure. So it works for you, and in a way, it might not be a New Year resolution, but you do have a goal.
A life goal.
Definitely. And you have things you do constantly moving towards that goal. So that's it. So it might not be tagged New Year resolution.
So we can remove New Year resolution. Because it becomes life resolution.
It could be anything. Yeah. Whatever you call it, it is what it is, okay? So for some people, like you said, it's become a pop thing where people want to feel funky, feel like, oh, I'm trendy, and then they make the New Year resolution. Another reason why New Year resolution sometimes doesn't work for everybody is because some resolutions are not made in congruence with who we really are, right? So sometimes if I ask some people, and I've done this before, I've asked people, what's your New Year resolution? They come up with something from the wind, from the air. They want to sound like, I'm hip. Do you understand?
Lose weight.
Exactly. I want to lose weight. Probably because they've heard somebody say that. Probably because it sounds like that's the right thing to say right now for this moment. But then there's a lot of incongruency, the misalignments with who you truly are, what you stand for, and all of that. That's why sometimes those goals, those resolutions, don't go through. By the end of January, it's gone.
You know, you mentioned that there's actually no particular time. New Year resolutions because, you know,
it's
sometimes...
the beginning of the new year.
Exactly. However, how important is it? Because before you set a new goal for yourself, you kind of have to look at the goals that you set for yourself from the
previous,
past to measure what you've been able to achieve to go forward. How important is it? And also, I want to ask, because when we're doing our intro, we spoke about business and love. And I know a lot of people focus on, you know, resolutions for their business, for work. But a lot of people don't really do that for their personal lives.
Yes.
I'd like to know your take on that.
Okay, so it is important. You said goals, okay? So, like you said, some people, and I said it at the beginning, some people are not mentally wrapped up from the previous year. There is a constant need for evaluation. And evaluation is the last step, right? I'm going to be talking about the process for creating simple radical change, and there are 5 steps in it, and evaluation happens to be the last. So with that question, let's look at, for those who are still in 2019 and are still going through the process and the motion of 2019, there is a need to sit back to evaluate. How about the goals I set for 2019? Were they accomplished? Were there things I needed to stop doing that I stopped? Were there things I needed to do to accomplish that? Did I do them? And all that. So there's a need to evaluate, to sit back, reflections and all that. So while some people have done that already and they're ready to move on saying, okay, count my losses or I count my gains. There were some things I did well. Now going into 2020, this is what I'm ready to do. Let's go. Let's get it done. So yes, it is important also for the personal goal. Honestly, you're quite right. Most times in meeting with clients, it's all about something out there. Something out there. Oh, my business, I want to, this is the point for this year. This is the target for this year. This is what I want to get for this year. Okay, you know what? My relationship, I want to be better. Sometimes you don't find many people who do that about relationship. What about you as a person? Because you're the bottom line. You're the most important person. What about you? What do you want to change? What do you want to improve on? What do you want to get better in terms of yourself? Someone I worked with last year said, you know what, this year is going to be about self-love. I just want to love myself. I realized that because of so many things, I'm the mom, I'm the manager at work, I'm this to this person, I'm the wife, I'm the sister, I'm all of that. I've lost myself. So this year I really want to concentrate on myself and then do something for me.
So I hear you say there's no one size fits all.
Definitely.
And I wonder, does anybody come to you and say, I want to become richer next year?
That's like 65%.
Great, I like that. But in talking about all of this, are there things we need to prioritize? What are these things? How do we prioritize them? And when you talk about New Year goals or New Year resolutions, are there limitations? Like, are there numbers of goals or resolutions you should make?
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let me answer that in relation to simple radical change. Like, you know, simple radical change is that framework to creating fast, explosive change in any area of life or business. And the first step in simple radical change is called the intent. What do you specifically want? Now, that's that part that answers the question to say, pick one goal. One goal that is the umbrella that houses all these little other things, so that in achieving that goal, all other things are then achieved, right? So I kind of find it a bit uncomfortable when I find people who want to have 6, 7, 8 goals. I mean, you're a human being. How much energy do you have? You can't distribute all. You can't give all the same attention. How about you pick one? And like I said, the first process in simple radical change is being intentional. What specifically do you want? Most times people go, oh, I know what I want. And then you ask them, what do you want? Then you say, you know, I don't want to. I'm like, no, what do you want? Specifically, positively, what do you want? The reason you need to know that is because if you do not know what you specifically want, you're also not training your mind on what to look for.
So let's make this a bit practical and work with one goal. And let's go with the 65%. So I come to you as a client and I say, you know, this year 2020, my bank account has to overflow. Like, I want to make money this year. So what's...
Oh, okay. So you're specific about that. You want to make money this year. I also need to work with you to let you be clear, right? Why do you want that? Where are you right now on the journey to wanting that? What would you see when you get that? Because I need you to first be there in your mind before you see it physically. What would you see? What would you be hearing? What would people say about you? What would you be saying about you? What would you lose when you get that? What would you gain when you get that? And this is just a few of the processes, which is under intent. The next thing, the next process is the resource process to say, what do you currently have to get that? Now, when it gets to that time, most times people honestly look outward and then they say, oh, okay, I don't have the money. I'm like, okay, but what then do you have? Now, resources is divided into two, which is the internal resources and then the external resources. Are you a dedicated person? There's so many things we have internally that we are not even aware of. And the minute you become aware of it, you feel you're forward from the inside with a lot of confidence, right? So you're a committed person, you're resilient, you're relentless, you're tenacity, you're dogged. That's some of the things you have. Also, the people you have. Because the money is not going to fall down from heaven. You have to have something. There has to be an exchange of value that you're giving to get the money. So who are the people? People is an external resource. Your phone is an external resource. The internet data is an external resource. Your connection, your circle of influence, your network, all those are the resources you have. Then we look at that critically. Then we move to the learn process. What do you need to do to get this goal? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to do more of? Yes, you do it, right? So you get your results once in a while. But then what do you need to constantly do to get this? And what do you need to stop doing? That's the part people go, like you rightly said, some people come, oh, I would like to lose the extra fat, right? And then I'm like, okay, so what do you need to stop doing?
I know somebody that can't stop cake.
This person goes, I like my shawarma.
I know somebody that can't stop cake.
And this person might be this person is on the big side. There is something you need to trade in to get what you want. Definitely.
So those are three steps: intent.
Yes.
Intense
resource and learn.
What's number 4? You said there are 5 steps.
Number 4 is the people. Right. Who are the people who currently have what you want? Okay. Because, see, we say if it's humanly possible, you can do it. Anybody can do it, but then why are you not doing it? Now, you need to understand who is that person there right now where you're aspiring to be. What are their beliefs? What are their values? What are their strategies? What do they live by? What can you learn from them? People, okay?
I hate to interrupt that. We'll come back for the 5th step, but Adenike, we have to go on a break.
All right,
we'll be right back. Please join us again. Welcome back to the Morning Show. Adenike Ajayi, founder of Center for Simple Radical Change and the creator of Simple Radical Change Matrix, a framework for creating fast and explosive change in any area of life, love, or business, is still with us in the studio. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you.
You want to land on the 5th step?
Okay. The 5th step is the evaluation step, right? Where, like I said at the beginning, you need to pause and reevaluate. So far, what I set out to achieve, have I achieved it? What's happening here? If I haven't, is there something else I need to introduce, right? I say this at this point to say be flexible. When you're evaluating, be flexible. The goal remains the same, but the approach to getting the goal can be anything. So I'll normally do this. The goal is 10. Let's say the goal is 10. 5 plus 5 will give you 10. 2 plus 8 will give you 10.
4 plus 6
will give you 10. So let's go to division. 20 minus 10 will give you 10. 40 minus 30 would give you 10. Multiplication, 2 times 5 will give you 10. Many other things will give you 10, right? As long as the goal remains the same, the approach can be different. That's that thing most times people don't pause to say, okay, this is what I want. But then again, is there something I'm doing right now that is not giving me the results that I want? So should I take out some things? Should I accelerate some things? Are there things that I would need to do more of, right? So evaluation for me is quite critical. But an evaluation you don't need to wait till the end of the year to do your evaluation. Evaluation can be done on a weekly basis.
I mean, what you said was very apt. It just makes me remember the words of Margaret Thatcher that says, I'm extraordinarily patient so far I get my way in the end. And it has to be said. I mean, you talked about resource, and resources are great. Resources are great. Everybody's a resource, you know. It's exciting. But one thing I see we don't talk about so much in society is resourcefulness. And if there's anything that's going to tip the balance, is your ability for resourcefulness over a resource. Because a lot of people that have resource, that don't have resourcefulness, the resource will just continue to remain resource. There's going to be potential. It is resourcefulness that make the potential of resource kinetic.
I agree.
I want us to talk about resourcefulness, and I'm sure that's going to help a lot of Nigerians.
Okay, so resourcefulness is actually part of the internal resources, right? And I do realize that some people, that comes quite easily to them. I have a friend whom, if I need anything, I can place a call to. We call her the connector. She can connect you to opportunities, connect you to books. She's quite resourceful, right? And one thing is that for some people, which might not come quite easily, that might not come quite easily to that, that can be taught. I mean, you can teach someone to be resourceful. You can anchor the state of resourcefulness to someone, right? And
How do you do it? How do you teach someone?
Oh, okay. So part of the tool I use is something called anchoring. Right. So I could say to you that, can you remember a particular time in your life where you were so happy? Right. Now, I could tell you.
I'm always happy.
Great. So now there are things that happen mentally for you, right, that you're not aware of. So at that point, if I want you, if you probably sad, something probably terrible happened to you, and then you've been steering at it, and I'm like, okay, you know, I know you to be a very happy guy. What's happening? So I could gradually take you back to that time and anchor a part of your body, most especially your fingers.
So that's a neuro-linguistic programming.
Yes, that is it. So I could do that. Now, resourcefulness is something. Now, for some people who feel, oh, I'm not resourceful in any way or at all, I've never been resourceful, you can construct that state. Then it's anchored into you. And then I feel that one hack that I see that works right through the process is relationship. Because
what kind of relationship?
Meaningful relationship. I'm not talking about love. But then love is that I have love for you, you have love for me. But then, I mean, meaningful quality relationship, right? So if she is a very resourceful person, by merely hanging around her, observing her, watching her do things she does, it rubs off on me.
Positive vibes. You get that?
Yes. I'm sure he gets that.
So you have broken it down into 5 steps, right? And, you know, it's very important to know this, but then how do you hold yourself accountable? You know, during the break, I had mentioned, I'd mentioned something I was kind of pulling my legs about, but I think it's really important, not just in relationships, but even in New Year resolutions. How often do you go back to the drawing board to say, these are my goals, where have I gotten to? How do you keep that going for the entire year? Okay,
you know, I said some minutes ago, relationship will work. A coaching system will work for you, especially if you're someone who you feel that holding yourself accountable is something that you don't do easily. Then get a coach.
What if you can't afford one?
I believe at some point you would be able to. How badly do you want it? Now, let me say something to you. During that process, during this 5-step processes, right, there are so many things that become apparent. And one of them that I've realized or I've seen happen over the years for me during this is that during this process, this 5-step processes, you then begin to see a lot of unconscious, disempowering things happening. You see ways you sabotage yourself. You see limiting beliefs. You see
self-fulfilling prophecies.
So, exactly, right? Very important. Because when you see all of that and you realize, oh my God, do you want something better? How badly do you want it? And you need to really step out of this, like you said, self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to do something. You need to get something better for your life.
Okay, because that brings us to my next question. There are those who say, you know, I just don't want to feel crappy about myself just because I'm not doing something or I didn't set a goal for myself. I wonder what your thoughts are on that. And there are those who also have a pathological procrastination habit.
Pathological?
Does New Year resolutions or goals not fuel such habits to say, okay, I'm planning to do this, I will do it
next year?
What are your thoughts?
That's chronic.
That's really chronic. Let me answer it this way. See, we're a creature of habits, right? And then they say actions speak louder than words. patterns speak the loudest.
Yeah.
You keep doing same thing over and over again. That means that you are running a pattern. Now, first of all, to stop running this pattern, you need to scramble it. Or to begin to do something better, you need to scramble this pattern. You need to scramble it.
Can people handle that pressure?
Pressure?
You know, so you set those goals for yourself. You put a time limit, because there should be time limits,
Yes.
isn't there?
Yeah.
And then you
Smart.
feel like you haven't met those goals, and the year has run out. Isn't that pressure? Don't you have people who come to you to say, you know what, this is a lot of pressure. I'm trying so hard to do this. Is there no pressure that comes with
this is the difference between what I do. What I do is that you come and then the pressure is there, right? I don't even think I've ever had a client who is like, oh, I'm under pressure, because there's a lot that goes into this 5 process that I've spoken to you about. There are internal things, there are things happening on the internal that is creating this pressure from people. We would at least have dealt with some of them, whereby life now becomes like, okay, I have a bit of relief now, and then I can live better. So procrastination was one thing I worked with the clients with, and by the time we realized that places these things are coming from. That places these things are coming from.
I get you. Okay, I just want to come in here real quickly. I just want to reiterate the importance of having a coach. I mean, I think for many years, President Clinton of America, his coach was Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yes.
And Tony Robbins didn't coach President Clinton. The fact that was a high-flying president.
Yes.
And concerning procrastination, you know, the concept of eating the frog, I think it was...
Yes.
What's his name? Brian Tracy that talked about that a lot. One other thing I just want to, you know, talk about as we wrap it all up this in the new year is the capacity to be able to introspect.
Definitely.
I want you to talk on the borders of that, around that, because that's really very important. You know, enrich and introspect.
Definitely.
And look, because we forget our core.
And just as you respond to that very quickly, because we are almost out of time, how do people reach you?
Okay. Should I answer that first?
For anyone.
Oh, okay. You can reach me on Instagram, Adenike Ajayi, or on 00222 74340. Okay. About introspection, I personally think that is one thing you owe yourself. Some of us still do the same things that we were taught to do before we became 7 years old. We have not even paused to think, why am I doing this? Let me give you a funny one. A friend of mine from the US called me like 3 weeks ago, and then she said, Nike, why do we peel the beans before we grind to make it akara? I was like, because that's what we were taught. And she said, have you ever tried it without peeling?
Oh, okay. We'd love to have you. Happy New Year, but we need to go. That brings us to the end of the show. I'm Rufai Zaini.
I'm Adeso Almore, and have a wonderful New Year.
Let's just go 1, 2, 3, go. Happy New Year!